Hi, just a disclaimer. This video is part of my series on pre-Pesach in quarantine from my Instagram lives. And for some reason, some background voices were picked up at certain points throughout the video, just for seconds at a time, and I was not able to get rid of those voices. I'm sorry. So just wanted to let you know, keep listening to the voice of the recording and not to the background voices when they come up, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. For today, we're talking about overcoming the fear of change. When the Jewish people left Egypt. Now remember, only 20% of the Jews actually left Egypt. 80% did not want to leave. They were too afraid to leave. Which of course begs the question, how? Why? Like they were just 200 years. They were living in Mitzrayim. They were enslaved. They were oppressed. They were abused. They lived in such difficult situations. How could they not leave? Like, you would think that you're offered a way out. You're free. You would take it. Especially, everything you've been through. Come on, you have an opportunity to leave. Like, what are you waiting for? Why aren't you going? It seems weird. But I get phone calls from people often, and they say to me, Yafa, I don't know what to do. I hate my job. Like, I really hate my job. They don't respect me. I don't get paid. I'm not treated well. Like, I hate it. And I say to them, well, did you consider leaving? No, I can't leave. Let's say I don't find a better job. Let's say they treat me just as bad. How do I know it's going to be any better? You see, this is a pattern that we fall into very often. This is our pattern where we get used to something. We get comfortable in a situation. And even if the situation is bad for us or harming us, we still prefer to stay. We prefer known hells to unknown heavens. Even if we know that things can be better if I leave, if I make another choice, if I make a change, things can be better.
Let them be creative,
We're still afraid to. And you know what I'm going to do right now? I am going to share with you my autobiography in 5 chapters. Are you ready? All right, let's go. Here's my autobiography. Instead of me writing a book, I'll just say it right over here. Chapter 1. I'm walking down the street. There's a big hole in the street. I look at it. I fall inside the hole. I feel trapped. I feel lost. I feel scared. How am I ever going to get out of here? It's really frightening. But I take a deep breath, and I know that this is not my fault. There was a hole there. I just fell into it. And I finally managed to climb out of the hole. Chapter 2. I'm walking down the street. There's a big hole in the street. I see it there. I remember it from yesterday. But I still fall in. I fall in again. And it's still scary. And it's still uncomfortable. And I'm nervous. How am I going to get out of here? But I know that I did it yesterday. And I know that it's still not my fault. I saw it there, but I forgot about it. And I get out, and I managed to get out, and I'm okay. Chapter 3. I'm walking down the street. I'm looking out for the hole, because I know it's going to be there. And I'm looking, and I'm going to miss the hole. I am not going to get into the hole this time, because I know it's there. I'm prepared. I'm ready. And I walk down the street. And there's the hole, and I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, I'm not going to fall into you this time. And as I'm saying that, I fall into the hole. And it's a little bit less frightening because I know the territory is familiar now. I don't feel that scared anymore. I still want to get out, but this time I know my way out. It takes me a little while, but I get back out of the hole and I'm okay. Chapter 4. I'm walking down the street and I know there's a big hole in the street, and I see the big hole in the street, and I am looking at that hole, and I say, hole? Ha! There is no way I am falling into you this time. And I'm walking, and I'm walking. And I walk around the hole. And I'm super proud of myself. I'm still thinking about that hole that I walked around. And I'm proud of myself. Chapter 5. I walk down a different street. This is my autobiography in 5 chapters. How many of you share this autobiography? Let me know right here. Is this your autobiography too? How many times do we make the same mistakes? Do we choose the same bad choices? The same decisions that are not good for us, but yet we go back again and again and again into those decisions when we know they're bad for us. Why do we do that? Why do we do that if we know the hole is there and we know we're going to fall in? It's so difficult to get to the 5th chapter where we finally decide to walk down a different street. You know why? A few reasons. First of all, we're creatures of habit. We get used to things. We get used to doing things a certain way. And then that's the way we like to do them. And making change is hard. We would much rather continue doing things the same way than risk. I see yours would be in 10 chapters. I see I'm not the only one, right? This is common. It's who we are as human beings. We'd much rather keep doing things the same way, even when they're dangerous, even when they're hurtful, than take the risk of making a change, because change is really hard. Also, it's really difficult to take responsibility for our actions. It is so much easier to blame other people. And this is why even the 20% of Jews who left Egypt, the 20% who were extra courageous and extra brave, and they said, you know what? We're going to go for it. We're going to try to trust. We've discussed here before that part of the issue was that they were abused for so many years that they had developed some trust issues, and it was hard for them to trust Moshe when he said, come on guys, trust me, it's all going to be good. Trust you? How can we trust you? He's like, okay, so trust Hashem. Trust Hashem? How can we trust him either? This is hard work. So it was very hard for them, but this 20% was courageous, and they said, okay, we're going to try our best. We're willing to take that risk. We're going to try, and they left. But the whole way they were complaining about everything. Again, does this sound familiar? Does this fit into our life pattern? We could be given everything in the world. They were just saved from the 10 plagues. They were just saved. We know about plagues today more than ever before. All right? They were saved from the 10 plagues. They witnessed the greatest revelations of God's existence, the greatest miracle that ever happened. Hashem split the sea for them. And then they were protected in the desert, sheltered, provided for, completely taken care of. And all they did was complain. How often do we do that? Now, here's what's amazing. At one point, what was their complaint? And here's what it says straight out in the Torah. They said, we missed the free fish that we had in Egypt. We missed the free fish that we had in Egypt. Seriously? Free fish? Like, who was giving out free sushi to these people in Egypt? Nobody. What kind of free fish are they talking about? So Rashi jumps in, as always, and Rashi says, it's not the free fish that they missed. He says, Chinam min ha-mitzvot. They were free from doing mitzvos. That's what they missed. They're so scared now. They're scared of receiving the Torah. Because when they were in Egypt, your life was hard. Things were difficult. But you know what? It was a little bit easier because they were victims. And it's so much easier to live as a victim. It's so much easier to be able to have someone to blame. To have someone to blame for our problems. For the reason we are who we are. For the reason we do the things we do. For the reason we can't move forward in life. It's so easy to blame, and we all have people that we can blame. We all do. I think I told you my own story once before last week about my high school experiences, right? I had so many people I could have blamed. We all do. We all have that Karen in our lives, who tell us we're not good enough to do anything. And we have those voices that we play over and over and over again. And I think I mentioned this to you before, but I'm going to say it again. There are two different groups of people that interfere with our moving forward. There are the blamers and the shamers. The blamers are people who we constantly blame others, and we're living in victimhood. And the only people who are hurt from blaming and from living as a victim is ourselves. The person who hurt us, whenever that was, they don't even remember what they've done anymore. They're so over it, if they ever knew in the first place. But the only one who's still suffering is us, and probably the people that we love most in the world, the people around us, are suffering also. Those are the only people who suffer from blame and from victimhood. And then we have the shamers. The shamers are also people who blame, but these are people who blame themselves. We take those voices that we heard and we integrate them, and we say, oh, maybe I'm really not good enough. Maybe I'm really not pretty enough. Maybe I'm really not thin enough or smart enough or old enough or young, or maybe I'm too old. We have those voices because we're allowing other people to define us. We're allowing other people's opinions to determine our reality. That's the worst thing we can do. Don't ever, I'm saying this loud for the people in the back. Don't ever allow someone else's opinion to determine your reality. And don't ever allow your own insecurities to determine your reality. We can't be blamers and we can't be shamers. What we have to be is claimers. Who are the claimers? The claimers are the people who claim responsibility for their lives. And you see, this is what the Jews were complaining about in the desert. They said, we want to go back to Egypt because we were victims over there and it was so much easier. Right? Victimhood in our society, especially more than ever before, victimhood is celebrated. We celebrate it. Oh, you're struggling in some way, you've been through something, you have a serious issue, you're the hero, right? And it really allows us to perpetuate living in victimhood, and that it enables us to not be able to really own our lives. And the only way to be happy and successful in life with anything is when we own our lives, and we own our decisions, and we take responsibility for our lives. That's what the Torah is. That's why they were so scared to continue on in the desert. They were scared to get to Har Sinai and to accept the Torah, because the Torah is all about responsibility. The Torah says, you have choices now, you have morals, you have ethics. There is a right and wrong starting right now. And you have to make those choices. And you have to own those decisions and live with them and be responsible for them. But the only way to be successful and happy in life is when we take responsibility for it. We grab it and we say, this life is mine. I'm responsible for it. But making those changes is so hard. It's really hard getting to that place. There are a few reasons why it's so hard to make those changes. It was so hard for them to leave Egypt, and it's hard for us to leave a circumstance in our lives, whether it's something extreme and serious like a toxic relationship or a job that's hurting us, or even to make a change in our personal lives. We know we need to make a change for the benefit of ourselves, our own success, or for the benefit of the people around us, for our relationships. We need to make changes in life, but it's hard. There are a few things that we're afraid of. Okay, let's get into what we're afraid of. And you're welcome to throw your answers into this also. Okay, I'd love to hear from you. What do you think are the major, the main things that hinder us from movement in life, from moving forward, from making any necessary change? So first of all, we're going to take the word fear for a minute. Okay, fear. We know that we are really afraid. Okay, I'm going to stop for 1 minute to give a big welcome to Leah it's her first time joining my live. You're a new follower. And thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying. And you used the word follower, but I'm going to remind all of you, you are not my followers. You are my co-leaders. We are co-leaders in this world together. We are here to help create change, positive change in ourselves and in the world, and we could only do it together. And that's really apropos for what we're talking about now. Okay, so what kind of fear? Yes, Frida, we are one of the fears, and this is one of the biggest fears that we have when it comes to change, is the fear of the unknown. The fear of the we don't know, like we know that things are difficult, or we know that we need to make a change, but what if I don't like what's behind door number 2? I can try it and things might be better, but let's say it's not. It's very scary. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what we cannot see. By the way, which is a huge, huge reason for some of the anxiety that's going on right now with this whole pandemic. People are so afraid because it's something they cannot see. It's not tangible. We don't understand it. We can't figure it out. I can't see it. I'm afraid of it. It's all unknown. So yeah, the fear of the unknown is a huge one. Then we have, let me see what all of you are writing. So we're scared of the unknown. It's hard to ask for help. No one wants to feel like a nebuch. Okay, that's a big one also. Okay, I want to get into that soon. Being comfortable, afraid to step out of the comfort zone. Motherhood unfiltered. I like that. That's very, very true. So we spoke about this a few days ago. Comfort, getting out of the comfort zone. We spoke about the relationship between pain and comfort and pleasure and comfort, and how we often confuse comfort and pleasure, right? We think that if I am not experiencing pain, we think that the opposite of pain is pleasure. And if I'm not experiencing pain, that means I'm experiencing pleasure. So it's all good. I'm fine. I don't have to do anything more than this. I'm having the best life I can have. No, you're not. You're just comfortable in life. You can have so much more pleasure if you would allow yourself that little bit of pain or that little bit of effort that it requires to step out of the comfort zone. And this is something we are all being forced to do right now, to get out of that comfort zone. So yes, motherhood unfiltered. That is a huge, huge issue. We are afraid to get uncomfortable without realizing that that is the only way to actually challenge ourselves and to actually grow. You could stay in the comfort zone your whole life. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. People do. People stay in the comfort zone forever. But the problem with that is, first of all, like, you get bored. You get bored with life. And when you get bored, you don't always make the best decisions. Okay? I really always believe that most of like hate comments that you find all over the internet, they're all from a bunch of bored people sitting behind their computer without purpose in life. And when you stay too comfortable in life, we get bored and we also forget our purpose. We become much more self-centered, self-absorbed, instead of living outward with a purpose. So there are some issues that happen when we live in our comfort zone, and also we never really challenge ourselves. We don't challenge ourselves. So we don't really reach a level of pleasure that we're able to reach. And again, that has its ramifications on us emotionally also. We start feeling it and realizing it. It leads to jealousy. It leads to so many other things that we're not getting into right now because that's not our topic for today. But yeah, so important to be comfortable in the discomfort. Okay? And again, we don't like doing that today. A little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort, run. Have a headache, run, grab the Tylenol. As an addictions professional, I can tell you that I see this a lot with addiction. This is how addiction starts. We're trying to numb the pain. We want to take something because I don't like this pain, just a little something, even if it's not necessarily something that has an addictive component. It doesn't have to be a substance that's addictive. Today, we are addicted to behaviors also. So there's something, we can become addicted to consumerism, addicted to shopping. We become addicted to working. We become addicted to technology. There's so many addictions, I'm sorry, that are behavioral, that we find ourselves running towards. And this happens where there's something inside of us that we're not comfortable with. And we either want something to start or something to stop. We either want to start feeling a certain way or stop feeling a certain way. We have to stop and say, wait.
In what sense?
How am I feeling right now? Why is that a bad thing? It's okay to be in
The
a little
perm
bit
party?
of pain.
I don't know.
It's
I
okay
didn't
to be
take
in
care
a
of
little
any of
bit
the money.
discomfort. It's okay to have a little bit of fear.
Oh.
Let me get
I
to
had
know
no
this
idea.
feeling. Let me embrace it. Let me even love it. Okay? It's so important
it's
to
true.
be okay with being uncomfortable. So yes, absolutely.
I think
being
Tangier and
uncomfortable
Carousel
is
were in
one
charge
of
of
the
the money.
main reasons that that one of the main things that inhibit our growth. Okay, so we have fear of the unknown. We have being too comfortable. Okay, Bella said we have fear of failure. Fear of failure. This is a huge one. Why are we so afraid to fail? And many people are. Are you afraid to fail? Let me know right here. Are you afraid to fail? And tell me, why are you afraid to fail? What does it come from? Because this does happen all the time. We're so afraid of trying something because what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? Yes,
What?
You're afraid to fail. I see you raising your hands.
What?
Let me ask you something.
He again?
Listen carefully.
But you
Are
asked him
you
earlier and he didn't
afraid
get back to you
to
yet?
fail? Or are you afraid of being
I'm saying
a
you asked him
failure?
earlier.
Listen to that carefully for a minute. Are you afraid to fail?
Ask if you're on or
Or
not.
are you afraid of being a failure? So you're saying the fear of failure for you is shame. You feel shame when you fail.
It's so annoying when that
and I
happens
think the
'cause you could've
shame
stayed in
comes
bed
from
longer.
being afraid that if I fail, that makes me a
Why
failure.
is he canceling? Is he okay?
Yeah, I
Oh, but he's going today to Houston?
My friends, my fellow co-leaders, failing at something does not make you a failure. Failure
what time is the
a
meeting?
very healthy part of growth. Failure is the most important part of success.
3 a.m.
The most important.
3 a.m.?
Because when you fail at something, that is a direct message that something needs to change. Oh, this didn't work. Okay, maybe this will work instead. I need to think of something else. This isn't going as well as I wanted. I'm not getting as many clients as I had wanted to get. I'm not being as successful. I could either sit back and be like, okay, whatever. My great aunt Karen was right.
Well, no, really, what time? It says 3
I'm not gonna
a.m.?
be able to do this. We
Obviously,
just
that
feel
was
like a
mistake.
failure, or
But
we
it
could be
doesn't
like,
say
oh,
for real
okay,
time?
hey, this isn't working.
It was in an
will
email?
work. And that is
Okay, I'm
our
gonna check.
key to success. That's the key to growth, to accomplishment. There's nothing wrong with failing. Do you know what makes you a failure? There's one thing that makes you a failure. Listen to this, because I like to get poetic, okay? Listen carefully. You can try and fail, and try and fail, and try and fail again. But you only fail if you try and fail to try again. Drop the mic. Got that? You can try and fail and try and fail and try and fail again. But you only fail if you try and fail to try again. Only when you give up, that's what makes you a failure. And we can go on and on and on about how many people that you look at today as major successes. Do you think they got that way on their first try? No, of course not. Nobody gets anywhere on their first try. It's not even possible. Almost. Maybe there's that one exception. Maybe you're the exception. Not even possible. Have you heard of the series Chicken Soup for the Soul? How many of you have read Chicken Soup for the Soul? It's an oldie but goodie. Fantastic book, full of inspiring stories. Not written by, this is not a Jewish idea. I don't think he's a Jew. His name is Jack Canfield, the guy who wrote it, okay? Very nice book. I want you to understand something, okay? You read the book and you're like, wow, you probably cry in every story. Inspiring, emotional, touching, beautiful stories. This guy, Jack Canfield, do you have any idea how many times he tried to have his book produced? Not produced, what's the word for writing a book? Day 18 in quarantine. What's the word for produced, for writing a book? Published. Okay. You know how many times he tried to have his book published? And he was turned. Thank you, ZC. Yeah, thanks everybody. How many times he had? Okay, this guy, 144 times he tried to have his book published. Everybody turned him down. He went from one publisher to another. And everyone's like, this book, I don't think so. Until he finally found one small little unknown publisher in New York. Tiny publisher. He's like, I have nothing to lose. They looked at the book and they were like, oh my gosh, we'll publish this for you. They probably wanted the money too, the business. Hello? Chicken soup for the soul. 144 times? I mean, would you do that? I don't know. If one person turns down my book, I probably would be like, oh, okay, maybe I can't write after all. I don't know. I'll just stick to Instagram posts, Maybe not after one. Maybe I'll give it 3. Maybe
Wait,
3.
what's at 10:40?
Not including my mother and sisters.
I can't. Let's do it.
Give it 3. And I'll be like, okay, I guess I can't write.
I
mean,
sends me the link.
J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter series took the world by storm.
Okay, perfect.
Legendary. Do you know that she was rejected 12 times? 12 times! Only the 13th time was her book published. A book like Harry Potter. And I can go on and on. Rav Noach Weinberg, founder of Aish HaTorah, one of the world's largest Torah centers in the world and branches all over. How many times he tried opening a yeshiva? Didn't work. He failed 5 times until he opened Aish HaTorah. 5 times? Who tries again and again and again? If it fails, we're like, okay, Great Aunt Karen was right. Right? We give up because we feel like failures when we fail. We can't give up. We can't give up. You're still waiting for courage to even write your book. Well, get it. We got to push ourselves. Sarah said Starbucks reached out to 270 banks before they opened. No, I did not know that. For real? Unbelievable. But yeah, 270. I mean, that's crazy. But these are people who knew that failing doesn't make them a failure. It just pushes them to succeed even more. So we can't take no for an answer. We cannot be afraid to fail. Failing doesn't make you a failure. You only fail when you stop trying, when you give up. That's when you fail. Got it? Okay, so a few of the things that inhibit us from movement and from change. Number 1, fear of the unknown. We're doing it in the order of what we're going through over here. So there's no one that's more of a reason than others, okay? They're all mixed together. Fear of the unknown. Fear of failure. We spoke about the fear of getting out of your comfort zone. Just being in that habit, just creating those chapters in our lives of making the same mistakes again and again and again. And now we have another fear. What's another fear? Fear, this is maybe less known, but really just as common. Fear of success. Have you ever experienced fear of success? Let me know, because I have. I have experienced fear of success. I'm experiencing it right now at this moment. I'm experiencing fear of success. I am afraid. I don't know if I'll use the word afraid. I'm hesitant to start this, to start a podcast that I've been considering doing for a while. I'm hesitant to continue writing my book. I'm hesitant to to even create this new project I'm creating, Living on Purpose. You know why? Because deep down, I'm a little bit nervous. What happens if it succeeds? Where do I go from there? How can I maintain that level of success if it succeeds? How do I maintain it? It's hard work. Like, will I have the ability to really come up with all the content that's needed to make it a success? It's scary. And it makes me hesitate throwing myself in and doing it. I'm doing it now. I am doing it. But I must admit, I have this fear of success weighing on me. I don't mind it being successful at all, but it is scary, right? And fear of discomfort, unknown success, uncomfortable. Okay, good. You're taking notes on here. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, what's up, Flower? We are all afraid of our own greatness because we have an incredible, incredible potential for greatness, every single one of us. And we hesitate sometimes and we stop ourselves from reaching those levels because we are scared of what's going to happen when I become great. And we stop ourselves. We try to remain small because of that. Oh, I'm okay now. I'm comfortable where I am. I don't need to do any more. Now, sometimes we do have different levels of potential. There are people who are 100% satisfied, right, on a smaller scale than other people because everyone has a different mission in this world. But each of us have to reach our greatness and our greatest potential in whatever level we're at, whatever that means for each of us. And we know what we could accomplish. Each one of us knows. Again, this comes from self-awareness, which we already spoke about last week, a lot about getting to know ourselves. We have to get to know who we are and what we can do and what we could accomplish. And then we got to get out there and just accomplish it. We cannot be afraid to fail because, again, it doesn't make us a failure. We can't be afraid of success. We can't. And I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you. So, yes, Hershkowitz Catering, some people self-sabotage their opportunity for success. We do this all the time. We self-sabotage, right? One little thing happens and, I told you I couldn't do it. And sometimes we even make that thing happen subconsciously, right? Just because we don't want it to work out because we're too afraid. We can't be afraid. We can't be afraid. We have so much to do and so little time to do it, right? I feel like those people, like, I remember when I was younger, my mother's friends used to be like, it goes by so fast. You blink your eyes, you know, time flies. And I'd be like, okay, boomer, whatever. I'm that okay boomer right now. Like, it flies. Time flies. I'm in my 40s. And I think back sometimes and I'm like, did I do enough in my 30s? Did I do enough in my 20s? I don't know. But now it's my 40s, right? And at whatever stage we're at, we need to say it's never too late. You know, one of my biggest inspirations in life ever, wish I can tag him here, Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, he started an entire new life at 40 years old. You know what that means? 40? Sometimes we think like, okay, whatever. 40? Way too old to start anything new. Do you know that when I lived in Mexico, I gave a class. I had my one specific class that I gave was a whole bunch of women in their 20s and maybe 30. And there was one woman who was 70 who used to come to this class. She just loved it. She enjoyed it. She didn't mind that she was so much older than everyone. And she was there and we loved having her also. And I'll never forget, her husband was 72 at the time. His lifelong dream had always been to play the clarinet. It's just something he always wanted to do, but he just never had a chance to do it. He was working and couldn't find the time. He retired at 70 years old, maybe 68. He retired. The first thing he started doing was learning to play the clarinet. At this point, when she had joined my class, he was 72 years old and he was playing the clarinet in his local Philharmonic orchestra, living his dream. He started at 70. It's never too late to do anything we want to do. But we need to get over those fears. The fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, the fear of success. Got to break through it. And here's how we can overcome it. Let's talk a little bit about when we do change, because I see we only have about 15 minutes left. Sometimes we do make changes in life. When do we make changes? So there are a few things that cause us to change, sometimes without even knowing. Okay? What are some things that make us change? Okay, first of all, when you are pushed to make a change against your will, when you are forced to change because suddenly something changes by itself in your life and you realize you got no choice, you have to change. For example, suddenly someone in your family discovers that they are highly, highly allergic to dairy. How quickly are you going to change the diet in your home, right? No more dairy. You're going to make changes, even though you're used to using dairy for everything. One of your children or your spouse is allergic to this. That's it. We're going to make that change because we got no choice. So sometimes we make changes and we're not afraid to make them. We jump right in because we got no choice. Sometimes we make changes when we hit rock bottom. Sometimes people go all the way down to the bottom of whatever their struggle is in life and they realize, I got two options. The only option is all the way down with no way up, or I can start moving upward right now. That's called hitting rock bottom. And sometimes they say, I got no choice. I'm going to change. And all of a sudden their fear of change goes out the door because they realize they have no choice. Another time we make changes is when we are enlightened by something. All of a sudden you learn something new that you didn't know before and you need to make a change because of that, right? For example, you've always been using the same pediatrician for years for your children. You went to that pediatrician. Your parents went to that pediatrician. This is your family doctor. And then all of a sudden you're hearing and you're reading reports all over the place for neglect in his practice. He's making mistakes. He's doing things wrong. And you say, that's it. I have to look for a new doctor. No matter how close I felt to him, maybe he's getting old and I just need to find a new doctor, right? Or whatever it is. You're used to shopping at a certain supermarket every single week for 20 years. Same supermarket. And they go out of business. What do you do now? You look for a new supermarket. That's it. You just do it. Right? So sometimes things force us. Sometimes we're enlightened. We learn things that are new that we have to make a change for. And when we do those things, we realize change is not that scary. I've done it. Like I made these changes. It's okay. I can do it. Right? Let me ask you another question. How many of you, now this is really mostly a question for anybody who's like 30 or older, maybe upper 20s. Anyone who's younger than that, the first question might not be for you. But like, how many of you have the same hairstyles that you had in high school? Dressed the same way, in the same exact clothing? How many of you even have the same bodies, figures? Like, we don't. They change. We change our styles, right? Okay, technology. How many of you still have the same phone, the same original cell phone that you used to have? We keep changing. I remember going from BlackBerry to iPhone. It was a huge adjustment, right? How many of us still have those phones attached to the wall with the curly wire? We don't use those anymore, mostly. Some offices, whatever. We don't use those phones. But we keep changing. As technology changes, we change along with it. As fashion changes, we change along with it. The economy keeps changing. The weather keeps changing. We have all these things in our lives that keep changing. And we change along with them. We make changes without realizing. And if we would have that understanding, we would realize that change is not that scary. We're in a situation right now where the whole world most likely is changing. I mean, they should. They should. It's almost like there was a global break put on the world. Stop. World, stop. I don't like the direction in which you were going, Hashem says. Let's take a break. Let's stop. Let's reboot. We're going to reboot the world. We're going to start again. We're going to start again. Let's make some changes. What changes do I have to make? Why was I put on hold? Why am I being rebooted? Because I have to make some changes. This is what's happening, right? It's almost like a forced change upon us. And when we look at all the changes that we experience constantly, I think it can help us realize that change is not that scary. It doesn't have to be that scary. Because we get to control those changes. They're our choices. We're making choices. I see some people writing over here. I moved with 5 children from Vienna for the sake of chinuch to Monsey. Hershkowitz Catering moved from Vienna to Monsey for the chinuch of her children. Amazing. It's amazing. These changes that we make, it's not easy, but we do them. And we need to have that in mind, that we make changes anyway. It shouldn't be that scary. It's not that scary. We have stability in life, and we need to hold on to that stability. And that stability, we know, is the Torah. The Torah doesn't change. The Torah is mind-blowing because it doesn't change, and yet it's always relevant. It's relevant in every generation without changing. That's what we call something that's divine and something that's everlasting. And this is what we're understanding over here. And this is why after Pesach is what allows us to create this change. We're leaving from slavery to freedom. We're leaving from being a loose nation to a real close-knit, tighter nation, to having not much of a relationship with Hashem, to creating a relationship with Hashem. That's what that whole change was all about. Leaving from our own slavery. Pesach the whole thing is metaphoric. Mitzrayim, the word Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, comes from the word, has the shoresh mem tzadik reish, which means narrowness. Tsar. Kol olam kulo, you know the song? Gesher tsar ma'od. Tsar, narrow. It means narrow. And sometimes we live in our own narrow worlds and we look at things with tunnel vision, just with my perspective, the way I'm used to doing things, the way I like to do things. This freedom from Mitzrayim was all about getting out of that narrowness, getting out of our little one-track minds, getting out of our little tunnel vision and expanding ourselves for greatness, expanding ourselves to make those changes that we need to get out into true freedom, to become the people that we need to be, because sometimes we're the ones who are imprisoning ourselves. We're the ones enslaving ourselves. We keep ourselves small. We keep ourselves little, and we enslave ourselves in our own lives because we're afraid to make those changes. Guys, break free. We're getting free now. Break free. We can be free now. We just got to get up and decide to do it. Just got to take that first step. And you know how it happens? Do you know how freedom begins? With one word. Bechipazon. This is the word that is used for when the Jews were told that they can leave Mitzrayim and be free. The word bechipazon, which means in a hurry. They did it in a rush. They left immediately. And I'm also going to talk about this. We're going to end in a couple of minutes. But tomorrow, Be'ezras Hashem, and the next day, we're going to talk about what does bechipazon mean? What does it mean to break free, to leave in a rush? We're going to talk about that. How important it is to do it in the moment, to get up and do it. But for right now, that's all we need to know. There's something you want to do. There's someone you can be. You have a vision and a dream, and I know you do. I know you do. It doesn't matter what size dream you have or how big your vision is. You have a vision and you have a dream, and you can accomplish that dream. You can be that person. We just have to let go. Break free from whatever imprisoning thoughts are going on in our minds. Whatever thoughts are keeping us small. Gotta break free of those because we have so much that we can do. And the time to do it, b'chipazon, do it immediately. Today, let that be our work for today. Our homework, our avoda for today. Let's make that decision that we are going to be the people we need to be. We're going to reach our greatness. We're not going to be afraid of our greatness. We're not going to be afraid to fail. We're not going to be afraid to succeed. We're going to get up and we're going to do it. And I would love if you can tell me, let me know tomorrow. Send me a DM today. Let me know what it is that you're going to break free from. Which narrowness are you going to expand in your brain? What are you going to let go of? Which enslaving thoughts are you going to let go of? Are you going to plow through? And are you going to do it b'chipazon immediately? I would love to hear that. Now, anybody want to call in and say hello on my live? Come on, I want to hear from you. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks to all of you. You're super welcome, Leah, Sarah, Shalamis, all of you. Yes, Esther, gotta let go and let God, but we have to put in that effort and that work. Tippy on the gram, let's hear from you. Ruchi, you are super welcome. Ma of 9, love you. To connect with us. Hello, Tippy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh my gosh, Tippy, hello.
Hey.
Hi, everybody. Say hi to
Yeah, thank you so much for everything you said. Really, I needed to hear that, today, now. It was just so powerful, really. Thank you.
You are super welcome. Chazde Hashem, I am happy to be that messenger for you.
Because I've, tried fighting for the person I want to be for already quite a few years. I have, this vision in my mind of, the person I want to be, and I've been fighting for it for already a few years. And I've been put down a lot of, many, many times. But this is exactly what I needed to hear, because I'm just going to keep fighting for who I want to be.
I'm so happy to hear that. You made me so happy. That's incredible. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable sharing with us in just 1 or 2 words? Who is that person you want to be? What's your goal? What's your vision?
I want to be there to help other people.
Okay.
I want to be there to help kids going through abuse, because I went through it myself. And I feel like God really put me through the challenges to be here to help other people.
That is unbelievable. That is so beautiful. That's what we call giving back, paying back. You don't want other people to go through what you've been through. You have so much empathy, so much understanding and compassion for people. And that's what you want to dedicate your life to.
Yeah.
That is so, everybody. Okay. Clap for Tippy. I'm amazed by you. Applaud. Tippy, everyone, look at all the hearts. Look at all the hearts you're getting. We all love you.
Thank you so much.
You are so special, Tippy. That was so beautiful. I love that you came on my live.
You're even more special because you're keeping me going every day.
Well, you know what? Thank you. I'm so happy that we have that interdependence over here, that we're able to help each other and inspire each other. That's really beautiful. And you're going to succeed in what you want to do because you have that strong desire.
Now I believe it. Earlier on today, I was doubting myself, but now I believe it.
No. You better believe it. You are going to do it, and you're going to be so big, and you're going to come back on here in a few days and tell us how you've moved up since today. Okay?
Yeah.
What you've done about it since today. We all want to hear. Okay? I'm waiting for that call.
I'm
going to hang up now before the live hangs up on us. I love you, and I'm so happy you joined us.
Thank you so much.
And just look at all those hearts.
On behalf of everyone, thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, everybody loves your accent. I see everybody's like, we love Tippy's accent. All right. Love you.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye. Okay. Now I'm going to end this live before it ends on me. Thank you. I'm loving all your messages. Thank you, everybody. I'm really loving spending my mornings with you. Thank you. Be'ezus Hashem, I will save the live right now so you can go look back on it. And again, thanks for all your comments, any questions. You know where to reach me. Always so happy to hear from you. And have a beautiful, wonderful day. Remember what to work on today. Work on getting rid of those negative thoughts about yourself, about what you can do. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to succeed. Don't be afraid of the unknown. Just jump in. Chipazon. You can do this. You can be this. We're all in it together. All right? I'm going to go work on my book right now. Love you all. Have a great day.